I have this weird thing I do. It makes no sense, where I have a bunch of good trades open, but at the same time, there's other ones that I missed and I still feel FOMO. It makes absolutely no sense. It's totally illogical. But what I'm talking about is the good old NASDAQ. I'm not in the NASDAQ, but I have so many other good trades running. It shouldn't matter. But, it's just a weird thing that we do as humans. It's something that I've noticed about myself over the years that I've been trading. And it's not just something about myself. I think it's human nature to focus on the bad. I think it's something about us. We just want to focus on the negatives. And as traders, you kind of have to learn to just push past the negatives, because if you're going to be someone who's going to trade successfully, you are 100% going to have some really hard to talk about drawdowns. And if you're not prepared for that, this is not the craft for you. There's somebody that I follow pretty closely. His name is, some of you guys might know him. He's more in the stock world. Financial Education Jeremy on YouTube. I've watched him for years. And, throughout that time, he said something that has really resonated with me. He said, if you are not ready at any given time in stock market investing, which is what he focuses on, for a 60% drawdown, do not touch the financial markets. You should just put your money into, money markets or bonds or something like that. But it's really stuck with me because it's so true. Everybody is a genius in a bull market. Everybody feels like they're just the best ever when things are going pretty clean. And I gotta say, things are going pretty clean for me right now. And I'm fully aware. I've been here before. I've been in a good time. I've been in bad times. When it comes to markets, what I'm talking about is up markets, down markets, choppy markets. I feel like at this point in my career, I've been through a lot of years of different sizes and calibers. So today, what am I referring to? Well, I'm feeling a little FOMO about the NASDAQ because I don't have the NASDAQ, but I kind of do. So I need to shut my mouth because I have so many other good trades running. Let me brag for a second. I've got two different gold longs that are going really well. So here's GLD. I had a couple losers this week too. I'll talk about those. GLD going really, really well. I'm up $8,200 in the last 10 days on gold. I can't complain at all there. Really nice. I shorted oil. This is not going so hot. So here's one of my losing trades right now, and very possible that if the market breaks through these highs, I'll get stopped out. I'll take a loss on that one. Here is my current P&L on that trade. I'm down $236 on that. So let me keep you updated on the gold positioning. And why do I mention that? The reason I mention that is because I'm aware that you're not going to play it perfectly. And the fact that I'm just making money should be enough, right? So mentally, I'm going through this thing where I'm like, oh, well, I should have just bought the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's up 50 million%. But you can play that game endlessly. At the end of the day, I made money trading. That's super hard to do, period. But number two, I'm going to have a losing streak. I'm going to have a drawdown. So don't get FOMO out there. I'm guilty of FOMOing in the past. Just play it safe. Be patient. There's a period of time, and I got to get focused because we got 1 minute. There's a period of time so far in 2024 where I was significantly, I was kind of just having very modest gains, and I was watching the stock market rip, and then it gave back a ton of gains in April, and I caught up. So, not my best trading year ever this year in terms of raw gains, but overall, I've had a really good stretch, and I'm thankful for that. All right, let's take a look. We're going to get claims data here in just a moment. Should be out in just a second. So let me go ahead and do Forex Factory. I know it's not FX Street, but for claims, this is just basic. So let's see what we get here. Again, claims data coming out in 30 seconds or so. We'll see if this moves the market. Just a quick update. We can pull up some data. Nick, stop talking and prepare for the news. You're right. You're so right. So claims has been on a recent tick up We're about to get the latest data, so let's see what we get. 10 seconds to go. Do we get claims data continuing higher? Let's have a look. Claims data should be coming in any second.
We have 4 brand new indicators built for TradingView, introducing the momentum, extension zones, trend projections, and volume spikes indicators. All 4 indicators work on every TradingView chart and time frame. You can easily see shifts in bullish or bearish momentum. Look and see if price is being overbought or oversold, which could cause a quick reversal. Automatically get a trend line that shows the true trend, bullish trend, and bearish trend based on the most recent market data. Get notified instantly of big spikes in volume to help you find breakouts. All 4 are available now at a1trading.com and can get set up in just a few minutes. Go check out our brand new line of TradingView indicators today.
Claims data probably in, based on the lack of reaction, probably just as expected. Let's see. 222. Yep. Came in just as expected. The Philly Fed Manufacturing Index came in light, and building permits came in very slightly light as well. Yeah, so market's kind of a flat reaction to this. No substantial move in either direction, at least from claims data, but it actually, arguably, this is maybe the more interesting one right now. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index indicates worsening conditions. So 7.7 forecast came in at 4.5. So that's pretty light. Stock market down slightly here on this. I mean, you can hardly call this any sort of move. The dollar index is trending up off of its lows. But claims data came in kind of non-aggressive, not in anything really. They revised hardly from the previous. So kind of a non-event in terms of market volatility-wise here. Let's take a look really quick at some individual things again. Let's get back on our analysis train here. So I'll take a look at the S&P really quick, just at where we're at. So let's take a look at this daily chart, because it's a swing and a home run for the S&P bulls recently. And you know, I am right and wrong at the same time when it comes to the S&P 500. I showed you guys my position on it. I bought VOO. So actions first. I am long, but I also sold a call, which has capped my upside. And you can see I'm down $2,700 on the calls that I sold. That's where I was wrong. But where I was right was I was bullish overall. Remember that a covered call setup is still a bullish setup. It's just that you're bullish basically with the take profit, like you're capping your upside. Anytime you put a take profit on your trade, you're capping your upside. Anytime you put a stop loss in your trade, you're capping your downside. So let's also see, did this do anything to oil? Because again, that's one trade that's kind of not going super well for me. So oil, I shorted this one. It's gone up against me here. We'll see how that one wants to play out going forward. Gold, testing resistance up around 2,400. Didn't quite make it to 2,400. Hit resistance here. Pretty key level. Again, I've got my stop loss trailed on this one. Yesterday with the big spike lower and then reversal intraday, I really liked the way price reacted to that area. I would be out of the trade if it breaks that area. In fact, let me go ahead and just, while I'm on this chart, I'm just going to add my level of support that I'm talking about here. So again, I really liked the way for gold bulls, beautiful price action here. Like I love this trade. Gold has been it for me this year. You know, last year, gold was horrible for me. I took so many losses. And I think at the end of last year, I think I was like break even on gold for the year, which sucked because gold has been something that I've traded for years. But last year just wasn't the greatest of times for gold for my, strategy. And I just had kind of mixed results. I didn't lose a ton of money on gold, but I definitely didn't make a ton of money. But this year, gold has woken up and it's working really well with my strategy. It probably will slow down for the rest of the week, to be honest, just because we've had the bulk or the majority of what was exciting to the market behind us now. We had two very important inflation figures that, as you mentioned, with those candles that you spotted, caused some pretty big moves. The question is now, I guess, the follow through. And I guess, Miko, the question for you I have, and I want to see if we're on the same page with this or not. I've flipped bearish on the dollar because inflation data, I could give you my whole spiel, but basically cool down in the economy, cool down in inflation, really changed the outlook for me on the dollar index. I'm curious from a price action perspective, where you're at with the DXY today.
So yeah, I have joined you as well. I am bearish as well. Last time we spoke, price was holding some support around these areas here. And since yesterday, since the break of that has definitely put to bed my bullish bias. And I'm looking at more downside. We have come into some areas where we might see some retracement on the DXY because we saw a lot of bullish momentum from here. So we might see a bit of a reaction. But what I can see now from a technical perspective is lower lows and lower highs. So I'm going to be looking to follow that until proven otherwise. If we get massive move higher, break structure, I'll fall my arms from that perspective, but I'm seeing some confident moves down. I like the momentum here as well. So in turn, I'm looking at Euro USD and I'm looking at opportunities to long this one. Should we retrace back to this level here? I'm really interested. As the USD, I like this level here. Pound USD, not so much. Aussie dollar, I like this level here. So yeah, I am definitely bearish on the dollar and looking for some opportunities for that.
Yeah, it really, that candle yesterday was impressive to the downside. I mean, it really just shows the effectiveness of, I guess, just kind of watching a trend form. We've seen this kind of choppiness up here, and we saw a big move lower, a bit of a pullback. We chattered our way back down, but again, with the confirmation yesterday of the soft CPI print, what that tells everybody is oh, so the economy is cooling down, inflation story is cooling down, maybe the Fed's going to cut rates, and that of course is very unattractive for the currency itself. So we saw a big dump in that side, but Miko, where we did not see a big dump in was the opposite. We saw some things really loved this, like silver. And you and I talked about this level. This was like the trade of the year so far. I don't know if you caught up with silver at all, but look at this. It came back down to that support level that we found on the weekly. And I did not catch it. I did not get in on this one, but my goodness, it came down, perfectly touched this zone and just erupted back to the highs. And I believe, did we touch 30? We have not quite touched 30, but we are very close to touching 30. So while you're talking about dollar weakness, I was just curious what your thoughts on with silver were.
Yeah, silver, absolutely gutted. I missed the trade as well. I was watching it, but I think I was in the gym at the time.
Yeah,
it was on Friday, I remember, because I said I was going to use the full H to enter because it was a big level, and I normally use an hourly chart to enter. But when I'm looking at bigger levels, I normally do use the full H for a bit more confirmation. And this was a really nice bullish. Okay, it was a Thursday. Nice bullish engulfing candle here, and since then it's just been ripping. I've been looking at opportunities for pullbacks on the retest of this area, on the retest of this area, but haven't seen that happen yet. Similar with gold as well. I'm keeping a close eye on gold and silver, whichever one I can trade. I'm happy with. But yeah, I'm bullish on both of them. I think we can probably still see higher prices coming as well.
Yeah. Speaking of gold, Marco, what are your thoughts on it? I know we've had pretty good momentum recently, though similar to what you pulled up with the euro. Of course, euro and gold there's a lot of correlation there. It's not perfect, but it's often enough that's worth mentioning. Big push to the upside, started to phase out. But what are your thoughts on gold as it tests the highs?
Yep, sure. Let me take a look. So for gold, I was definitely seeing some nice momentum right here. This is an option that I want to get in on. So some strong bullish candles. The pullbacks are extremely small, no selling pressure. So that was nice. The most recent price action, not that good. Again, seeing some selling pressure here and here. On the top, seeing price starting to give me a wider pullback, also some selling pressure. So just by judging the momentum, for me, this was good. but this is showing me some warning signs.
Yep.
So my bias is still for this to go up, definitely retest those highs. But again, if I want to see price approach the highs, I would like to see this sort of momentum, right?
Yeah, it definitely has.
Moving up.
It's definitely slowed down a little bit, but yeah, it's still, we're near the highs. We've been here before, guys. I think we talked about this as the S&P 500. I remember asking you months ago, we had a long conversation about all-time highs, and gold is not quite at all-time highs. Silver is 50 miles away from all-time highs because of the back in the day with the big pops, but gold, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and perhaps Bitcoin, which I actually shorted last time we talked. I shorted Bitcoin, and I'm leaving it on here for display, but I got absolutely smoked by the bulls. They pumped it yesterday on CPI, which makes sense. I was pointing out that I have some long exposure to, interest rate sensitive stuff like bonds and the NASDAQ or tech stocks. So I kind of had a couple hedges on going into CPI, and this unfortunately was one of them. So I shorted Bitcoin, which if CPI had been hot, Bitcoin would have dropped hard because Bitcoin is a risk asset and high inflation would be, no bueno for Bitcoin. But in this case, I took a loss on this one. I'm curious what your thoughts are on Bitcoin, Miko. We talk about it every week. I don't trade it that often, and maybe I should stay away from it because I took my first trade in a while and got smacked right away on it. But what are your thoughts on Bitcoin right now?
Yeah, it was interesting. We did see a big push higher for Bitcoin, quite an impulsive one as well. So I'm still very much on the idea that we've had a really big move higher. It's purely looking at technicals, really big move higher, and the way that we've been so corrective and the slowness of it. Normally we see this pattern as an impulse, price having a pullback, correcting itself to impulse again. So I'm still expecting price to come back to the highs there purely from technicals. And I did point out some areas here, 52K, 48K, which we might slowly move to and then push. But who knows? Maybe Bitcoin is already decided it wants to take off. I'm not quite sold yet. It's one big candle. Sometimes that could be a bit deceiving. But if you do start taking out this high, then yeah, maybe Bitcoin is actually going to push back to the highs. But I would still like to see a bit more downside to 52 and 48. I think buys there would make a lot more sense. But in the long term, I'm still favoring back to 74K.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's had a little bit of a good run here, I suppose, on the Bitcoin side. Let me pull it back up. Bitcoin's had this nice little breakout. Now that I'm looking at it with hindsight in my favor, my short looks pretty silly, but now it looks like it's got some momentum to the upside. We'll see how long it can go. Marco, what are your thoughts? Are we still just range bound till further notice, or is this the start of a nice move?
Yep. Let me check it out. So Bitcoin definitely had a big leg up on this 1 hour, but let's bump it up to the 4 hour. Yeah, definitely starting to kick in some bullish pressure here as well. Now again, what I want to see is break of that high. I want to see a break of that high. I think if we break it, it's going to be a big rally to the upside again. Until that happens, for me, this is a bit of a no man's land. Sure, you could make a case for, let's say, a descending channel. Place your trend lines. But again, anything in here, I just kind of do not want to touch. If we break this low, I would expect the price to go much lower and definitely retest this level of 52.7, maybe even lower than that. If I had to call it right now, I would say, to be honest, I think it's still in no man's land, and I could not call it.
Sure.
Because
there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not seeing a push up or down. I'm just seeing it being stuck in this range bound market.
Yep.
And again, no fundamentals behind Bitcoin, right? The only fundamental could be that the news about Bitcoin has died down, as you were saying. So that might be a bearish case. And because of that, I would say it's going to go down, right?
Okay, fair enough. Last one, we skipped it, but it was just because I had a trade on Bitcoin, though. We talked about that one first. I do want to get you guys' thoughts just briefly on the indices. I mentioned that we just broke the all-time highs. Miko, S&P, NASDAQ, whatever you'd like to look at. I'm curious your thoughts. I mean, look at the NASDAQ just looks so beautiful trading up here. And I can't lie, I'm, not fully invested. I do have some long exposure to the tech side of things, but man, the NASDAQ looks great. S&P looks great. High level fundamentals, earnings were really solid this latest quarter. Inflation seems to be coming down, and the markets are looking optimistically to rate cuts. Price action wise, big break above the highs. What are your thoughts here, Miko?
Yeah, I think because everything is looking bullish, we're trading at all-time highs for S&P. I think, yeah, US 100 as well. Dow Jones not quite, or might have just pinched it. But yeah, everything is looking bullish from a top-down perspective, and I like it when we're seeing multiple time frames in the same direction. For me, that's normally where my high probability setups, and sometimes they can give some really nice trades that go on and on and on. And from a intra-week, intraday perspective, if I was looking to trade indices, I'll just be looking at pullbacks for these guys and just looking at opportunities to buy. US 30, I like this range here for a retest and upside. S&P, I like this range here as well. They were moving a little bit sideways before the news, but after this breakout, it's left behind some nice levels where we could look for a retest. Maybe not so much with US 100, arguably over there as well. But yeah, I'll be expecting some pullbacks and more upside.
Sure. And Marco, same question to you. Indices are feeling the same way, or what are your thoughts?
Yep. So for the S&P, I really like this bullish momentum. So the legs that are standing out to me on this 1 hour chart is gonna be this leg right here. Whoop. This one is pretty nice as well. And then the final one is, of course, this one. So that's some great price action, some very clean price action, and I would definitely be a buyer in this market. Selling pressure, not seeing much. Here on the top, just a small pause. Here, not seeing, except this major red candle, the other ones look pretty good. If we bump it up to the 4 hour, this looks very, very bullish, very, very nice. So I would expect more upside, definitely. I'm not seeing any signs that this price wants to slow down. Daily, yeah, daily, absolutely good. Broke the high, continued. So yeah, this is looking very bullish, and I would be a buyer in this market. Definitely, I would look for buy setups.
Did you know we do a live trading show Monday through Friday with guests from all over the world? To get notified when we go live, click the bell button next to the subscribe button, or check in at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We have helpful, free content in the description below and on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching today's video, and we'll see you tomorrow.